51063 The Game here on this Tuesday. He's Big Joe. I'm Chase McCabe, Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier on the ones and twos. I even see the reporter Nick Keyser back there as well. Gentlemen, it is an extremely important day in our country. The fabric of this great nation can be changed today. And it all begins in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and Muncie, Indiana. That is right. It is the return of Maction on a Tuesday night.
Nice. Who we got tonight?
Bowling Green in Central Michigan, Miami, Ohio at Ball State.
Oh, yes. Good for them.
That's
man.
what we got. We got some Maction tonight.
National TV. There's nothing else going on, so might as well, get in some football tonight.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, what else is going on? No, in all seriousness, I will say, go out and vote. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care policies, none of that. That's your business. Go the way you want to go. Just go vote. You have that right. It's a great right that we have in this country, and you definitely should use it. So whether it's a local election, obviously the presidential election, whatever, go use your power and go vote.
I have it on very good authority. Very good authority. The sun will come up tomorrow.
I've heard that too.
Right? So can we confirm that? Can we go with that? I think we can.
Is there a time? I actually think there's a listed time in which the sun comes up.
I think you're correct on that.
Yeah.
So it'll come up tomorrow. So we'll, as we do every day, we'll bring the fun and everything else along with the people show for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, for sure. And this is the last we're really going to mention of that. But seriously, go out and vote. We definitely want to kind of have that PSA going on. How about this? How about DeAndre Hopkins last night on Monday Night Football? He scores 2 touchdowns in the Chiefs' overtime victory. They needed overtime, but got that win last night. And he had a little celebration on that first touchdown. Remember the Titans? It was a movie.
Yep.
But he did that celebration with his teammates. I kind of thought that was interesting. I loved it. I was fine with it. I was like, hey, good for him. I don't have an issue with it. He tweeted 21 minutes ago. It was a shout to Tennessee. If you know me, you know it's nothing but love for Nashville. Rand and his crew are like family. Without them, I wouldn't be here. That was DeAndre Hopkins.
Good for him. All right. Will he do that when he win the Super Bowl?
Okay.
In February?
You gonna send Rand a ring? What are you gonna do? Look, yeah. I like DeAndre Hopkins. I think it was the total right move to trade him. This team was going nowhere. He is I think he's a Hall of Fame player. He's super talented, still has a lot left in the tank, and deserves to be on a team that's going to go somewhere. And for him to go from 1-6 and now 2-6 team to an 8-0 team, good for him. And I didn't have any problem with the celebration either. It's a troll job, but it was a nice troll job. It wasn't bad.
Good for him. I've listened to it on the radio, and Kevin Harlan says, at 32, he's not supposed to be doing this. And I'm like, here we go again.
I know.
Here we go. Because you're 30, it's over. I'm like, stop, just shut up, Kevin. Good for Hopkins. Let it play to your 40, man. Keep going on. So good for him. Was there any doubt in your mind the Chiefs weren't going to win?
No.
Isn't that fun?
I like the Bucs. I think Baker Mayfield, I love these quarterback reclamation projects like we've seen across the league. Sam Darnold in Minnesota, Baker Mayfield down there in Tampa, Jared Goff in Detroit. Just to name a few, now you got Flacco in Indianapolis that he's trying to do something. But I knew that the Chiefs were the better team, and I feel like, you tell me if this is right or not. I heard a friend of mine, use this analogy, and I thought it was perfect. It was the better teams were just. It was like the cat and mouse game of I'm going to play with the mouse and make it think it's going to get away and then finally end it. And that there was too much of that going on, especially in college football.
I can see, it was. There's a lot of that. And, some of those teams really try hard. They kind of fade out there in the second half. But the thing last night watching the Chiefs game is just triple team Kelsey. How does he look? He looks nowhere near the player he was last year. He's got that weird haircut, and I know he's in love, and I get all that stuff, but still, he's open every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Can other tight ends in the league not get open like that as well? Can the Titans tight ends not get open like that? He's open every single time. I don't get it.
That's a funny question.
Is it not?
Cute. That's cute, Joe.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I know. I agree. But I mean, like Kelce, 100 yards, 14 catches for 100 yards. He was targeted 16 times. I mean, unbelievable. By the way, the stat that really stood out to me was let me see if I can find it. The third downs. 12 of 18 Kansas City was on third down.
66%.
They said, I think I saw that was the most on Monday Night Football since like the Bills back in the, in their heyday. Something like that.
Unbelievable, man.
12 of 18 on third down. and then 1 of 1 on fourth. But like, my goodness. 384 yards of total offense last night. But I mean, it was a good game, really good game. And,
it was.
I'm glad that we're seeing, some fun primetime games because that's what they're supposed to be. Like I saw the Sunday night game was terrible. It was a boring game between Minnesota and Indianapolis. But the Chiefs roll to 8-0.
Well, that's fun to watch that because you see the level that you need to get to if you're the Titans. I mean, if you want to be a Super Bowl team, that's the level you get to. The Chiefs are the best team in football. So you look, all right, how do we get there? What's the process? And it starts and ends at one position with Mahomes at quarterback. The flip touchdown he had in his left hand last night was does any other quarterback in the league do that? No. I mean, Levis does, but he throws it to the other team 10 yards backwards.
Don't compare him to
so
Levis. Come on now.
That's where that goes. But, I mean, their defense is good. Their offensive line's gotten a lot better. That was just a fun game to watch, and now they're sitting there at 8-0. The Bucs are a great 4-5. I don't know how they've lost 5 games. That's a good team.
Did you see the coin flip for overtime?
Yes. He knew.
Oh, yeah. But the Chiefs win the toss, and Baker Mayfield was just like, like he knew.
His head goes backwards. It's like, it's over with. It's done.
Feel free to weigh in 615-737-1025. Our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Donovan says Tampa blew their opportunity last night. They should not have called timeout at the goal line. Let the clock run down to near zero, get that touchdown, and then let the game be decided on a 2-point conversion. Do not give Mahomes an opportunity to get back on the field. Tampa's offense never did get back on the field.
Good point.
Yeah, I don't think he's wrong there.
There's a lot of overthinking that's going into football now, more than I've ever seen in the 40-plus years I've watched it. Just a lot of overthinking, not a lot of just like line up, get the yard, mash up the middle, do that. It's the evolution of football. We're trying to get too cute and all the things that go on, but sometimes the basic works.
Sounds like Jerry Jones got out of his room this morning. He's sending a 4th-round pick to Carolina to acquire wide receiver Jonathan Mingo. I don't know why they're doing that, but okay.
Well, I bet you Vegas just flipped the odds.
Oh yeah, here comes Dallas. Jonathan Mingo. There you go. There's the piece.
I'm gonna make a trade today. I can't imitate him, but you do a better job.
I'm gonna go out there and make it. I see. I can't do it. You met like now
you're on the spot.
I need to hear him, and then I could probably do it. We're making a trade. We're gonna be a good football team. Mike, you got this.
You know what's funny from those? Our good friend Paul Jones covered the Cowboys for a couple of years. It's like they all say he's wonderful. Like he has this big party after in a training camp.
I met him for 10 seconds, and it was like probably one of the biggest highlights of my life. And he was like, "Son, how you doing?" Like shook my hand, and it was like that classic old man, like real fast shaking your hand.
Yeah, getting
like
out of there.
Death grip on. I mean, like he about broke my hand, like he had the death grip on. And he was like, "Son, how you doing? Go Cowboys."
I like it when he bought the Cowboys in '89. He bought 51% of them.
Oh yeah,
which made him. He had three or four other investors, and he became.
And he slowly bought them out over time.
Slowly bought them out. Yeah.
Here you go, Chase. Find your inner Jerry Jones here.
Just any team in the NFL can do you in. This is not a good time. I really regret this for all of our Dallas Cowboy fans. I will tell you this, that I've been around. I've seen Michael Irvin tear up and cry when he couldn't lose anybody because he's just recovering from knee surgery. Yet his ass came back and led a team to 3 Super Bowls. I know you can be there if you're there. That room's full of guys that can get it done.
That room's full of guys that can get it done. I believe in the Cowboys.
It's funny, he didn't draft Michael Irvin. So, but still, he got he had lightning in a bottle. But that leads into what we're going to talk about today, because today's a trade deadline, and the Cowboys pulled off.
That's what's today.
The Cowboys pulled off the greatest trade of all time in sports. I mean, there's nothing that comes close with the Herschel Walker trade, which ended up winning them the Super Bowl and getting all the players and assets. So a question we talked about is, what trade in any sports just ripped you apart, just tore you apart when you found that he was traded? And I'm going to make mine real quick. You know what it is? When Dale Murphy got traded in July of '90 to the Phillies from the Braves, that ended my Braves love on the spot right there. I was like, how do you trade Murphy? I get it. Now that I got older, I realized it's a business. But once Dale Murphy got traded to the Phillies, I was like, I'm devastated. I was devastated. So there's other trades out there that have gone on that's like, and some are upset by the Hopkins trade.
I mean, so McNair, I mean, when they sent him to Baltimore, because that was a trade, right? Wasn't that a trade?
I don't remember, but still.
I don't remember I think it was, but man, that's a good one.
Or the first time you saw your favorite player in another jersey. I mean, trade or free agent or whatever.
Yeah.
It was still weird seeing McNair in a Ravens.
When Eddie went to Dallas, it was weird. And as a Cowboys fan, like, I was like, oh, okay, cool. But it was still weird because I had, now I was kind of all in with the Titans, and they were here. They were our team. They made that run to the Super Bowl. Eddie was like the first, hero that we had like in a pro sport situation. So, I mean,
it was a bad. He was the 04.
He was he was done.
Didn't Parcells bench him halfway through?
Yeah. I mean, he played like 5 or 6 games. He was done. Yeah. But, that was tough to watch. I mean, obviously Derek and Samari going to Baltimore. But I'm trying to think of a trade that just absolutely.
Did you say when you saw Ekholm come back, was that weird?
Yeah, that was weird. But that was just because he was, in covering the team during that time, like, he was always one of my go-tos. Like, it didn't matter. He would talk to me, so that was, it was just, he was always a cool guy. Trying to think from a Braves point of view.
You weren't happy with Freddie Freeman,
but that was a free agent.
But still sitting, seeing him in a Dodger uniform.
Yeah. When Maddox left, when Glavine left, I mean, those were pretty tough.
What about when Ken Oberfeld went to the Oakland Athletics?
I don't remember that one.
OB off the bad Braves teams in the 80s and gets traded.
I mean, it's a great question. 615-737-1025. So any sport trade that just, bro, I mean, here's one. Obviously, it turned out to work, but when the Predators traded Shea Weber, that kind of rocked the the foundation, because it was like, wait a minute, that's the guy. You're trading the guy now, but it turned out to be the right move.
I think the Preds did a good job when they traded Weber was that June of 2016, because it was the day before or after Pat Summitt died, and that's how I remember that.
Yeah.
Is that they quickly put out a PK Subban highlight reel.
Yeah.
I mean, quickly, like, here we're getting. So I think it kind of like, all right, we're losing Weber, but we're getting PK Subban.
So we were, I was producing, it was Darren and Derek at the time. I don't think Willie was on the show yet. And we are literally signing off. We're ending the show. There's 20 seconds left in the show. And Jeremy, our boss, comes in and goes, the Preds just traded Shea Weber for PK Subban. And so I key the mic and I go, hey guys, just passing this along. The Predators just traded Shea Weber to Montreal for PK Subban. And Darren like can't talk and looks at me and just goes, okay, see you tomorrow. It wasn't like that, but I mean, it was just like,
sudden, out of the blue.
What just happened? Like, I guess we'll have a lot to talk about. So it was one of those things, like, just
everything happens at the end of our show, or
of course, yeah,
like at the end or 5 minutes after that goes on.
All right, 615-737-1025. 1025. Also, I'm going to throw out 5 Titans that I think you could potentially trade, and you tell me if you agree or not. Okay, we'll do that. Coming up next, Hal Gill at the bottom of the hour, chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063 The Game.
Mayor Quimby supports revolving door prisons. Mayor Quimby even released Sideshow Bob, a man twice convicted of attempted murder. Can you trust a man like Mayor Quimby? Vote Sideshow Bob for mayor.
Little Simpsons and then Law and Order. Okay, very nice. Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063 The Game. Here on this Tuesday.
Oh, man.
I love that. That's a great episode.
So much of our contact revolves around The Simpsons.
So last night I watched the episode where Bart wants to buy the Radioactive Man #1 And so he and Milhouse and Martin.
That episode should be in the Smithsonian.
The best scene in that entire episode is it is storming like no other. Homer's sitting there watching TV, and Marge goes, "Homer, it's really coming down out there. Are the kids okay?" And he looks, and the lightning strikes the tree, and he goes, "They're fine. They're fighting.
They're fighting. They're brawling up in the tree." And at the end of that, Bart says, "You know what? Because we all worked so hard. We tried to come together on one thing. We couldn't get it done." And Milhouse like, "Well, what's your point?" He's like, this kind of ticks me off. So you're expecting this come together like we could have done better in our lives, and just the Simpsons true to form takes you in a different direction. Great episode.
Oh, so good. And that was season 2. That was like when it was really starting to get
it's
funny.
Awesome episode.
You had Dancing Homer in that one. Just so many good ones. Baby Elephant Walk.
Homer, it's really coming down. Could you check on the boys?
They're fine.
And they're beating the snot out of each other.
They tie up Martin.
So Homer's so late. He doesn't even look. He's just watching TV.
Marge like finally makes him come in and like, you can play your tie-up game inside. Oh man. 615-737-1025. Our question of the day is
because today's the NFL trade deadline. What trade could be any sport when your favorite player got traded and it just gutted you? Just like, how are you going to go about your day? What trade would that be? Because there's been a lot of them throughout the years.
Eric wants to weigh in. Eric, what's up?
Longtime 49er fan. When San Fran traded Charles Haley to the Cowboys, I wanted the coach, general manager, the whole front office fired on the spot.
I mean, because it's the
Cowboys. Horrible decision. And George Seifert came back and admitted years later it was the worst decision he ever made.
Didn't he win 6 Super Bowl rings? How many rings did he win?
At least 5. He definitely, I think, had 2 with the 49ers and 3 with the Cowboys. And he wreaked havoc on the 49ers when he would play them.
Yeah, you're right. 5 Super Bowl championship. You're correct.
Wow.
Yeah. Horrible. They should have all been fired immediately. So,
thanks for the call, Eric.
Haley. Yeah, thanks.
How is he not in the Hall of Fame?
Charles Haley.
100 sacks, 5 Super Bowl championships, Ring of Honor, Cowboys and 49ers.
I don't know.
5-time Pro Bowl. What the hell?
You would think. By the way, I have a sneak peek of some things. We're going to talk some Hall of Fame with John McClain tomorrow.
Okay.
He let me in on some stuff, so we're gonna bring it up with him.
All
tomorrow.
right. I'm
gonna be
all
good.
about it, man.
Robert in Nashville says, "I'm old, but Tom Seaver to the Reds."
Oh yeah,
that was a good one. Michael and Madison. Mookie Betts getting traded really hurt me as a Red Sox fan, especially with the local connection.
Didn't they come out and
such
say
a dumb trade?
Didn't they come out and say we made a mistake? I think somebody in the front office said we made a mistake.
You think?
Yeah, right.
I want to be like, no bleep. McNair was a free agent. They wouldn't give him a $9 million contract, and Baltimore did. No, they locked him out of the building. Mm-hmm. He wasn't a free agent. Now they may have cut him, but I think that I think they traded him. I'd have to look it up. He was not a free agent. That's incorrect. 9721, the AJ trade. I knew that was going to come up.
I completely forget. It's just like I've kind of blocked that out of my life.
Yeah, I knew that was going to come up. 0247, Emmitt Smith in a Cardinals uniform just seemed wrong. Yeah, that was weird.
Right.
I didn't like that. How about Weber for PK? We talked about that. Lows to highs in a single trade. AJ Brown, Mookie to LA. Derrick Rose got traded from the Bulls.
To who?
Was that the
T-Wolves? I don't remember.
It might have been Minnesota.
Yeah.
Because it was Chicago. Because he ended up in New York after all of this. And then I think he retired, past summer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm not a Colts fan, but when they cut loose Peyton, we all knew it was coming. But it was like, holy crap, the Colts actually cut loose Peyton Manning.
But they got Andrew Luck.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for them.
Not at all.
This sounds awful now. This is from Patrick. But being a Bills fan, when they traded OJ to the 49ers, that was rough. He was a legend when he played in upstate New York.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Was that a trade?
I think it was. Didn't Namath also go from the Jets to the Rams? I mean,
yeah.
See these iconic guys. That's the point of the question, is seeing these iconic heroes.
Well, and OJ wanted to go home.
Yep.
And play closer to home.
That's right.
But he played like 2 years there and then retired.
Something like that. That's going to be tough. And Patrick, thank you, of being a fan of somebody like OJ, because the dichotomy of that is
it weird? Like, so this is another subject for another day, but like everybody has to, when talking about OJ, the football player, has to preface it, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody does that. There's Chris Benoit, the wrestler, that everyone, when they're talking just about his wrestling career, they have to preface it because of the awful things he did.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird. Like it's weird sometimes, but it's like sometimes I even feel guilty about just talking about the player.
Yeah.
Well,
we have to do it to an extent with Steve McNair. I mean,
you're right. It's a little different, but yeah,
it is. But we still so here it hit us differently. Like Patrick, I understand growing up in Buffalo and OJ.
Like OJ is one of the best players of all time.
All time.
He's a terrible human being, or was.
Yeah.
But like he's one of the greatest players, and like watching his film and everything, I'm enamored watching him play football.
He was great. I mean,
but then I like sit there and I go, okay, yeah, this guy's a murderer. So
I get it. I mean, we all go through that with these guys because we all grew up like, man, these guys are just legends and larger than life.
The iconic Sports Illustrated cover of OJ at USC, and they're playing UCLA.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So one of those UCLA players is Floyd Reese.
Right. He told me that. I think I saw the cover.
Yeah.
And he pointed it out one time.
Yeah.
That's pretty iconic, man.
Let's see. Vincent and Dixon, Jim Burt from the Giants to the 49ers.
Jim Burt. Yeah. Wore the tight jersey, number 64. Right, Sean Henry? And then got traded. Yep. He was an anchor for that Jets defense.
One more. As an avid Detroit Tigers fan, it tore me up when they traded Justin Verlander, the best pitcher in baseball, to the Astros. Never have forgiven them for that.
Ooh. Well, the Tigers also made a trade years ago, which helped the Atlanta Braves. The Braves traded Doyle Alexander from the Braves to the Tigers and got back John Smoltz.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That one worked out pretty good.
That one did work out very well.
I'll take that one. Coming up next, what is going on with the Predators? We will discuss with Hal Gill. He'll join us here on the program, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game here on this Tuesday. Predators fall 3-0 in the shutout last night to the LA Kings. We say hello to Hal Gill, who joins us now. You can hear him on Road Games on radio and see him on the FanDuel Sports Network on TV during home games. Skillsy, we saw the highs on Saturday and then the lows last night. The I don't even know how to describe it. Inconsistencies, the up, down, the roller coaster. And I've learned enough from you over the years that when I watch this, I just know they need one thing. They need to go on the road. They need to hash this out, and the best way to do that is a road trip.
That's exactly what they need. They need a road mindset. They need to go and play for each other. And, it's tough being at home for so long. I know if you're winning, it's great because you just keep feeding the beast. But when you're in a funk and you're at home, it's tough to do that. Whatever it is, you're on the road and you simplify things and you bear down and you try to keep the crowd out of it instead of whatever they're doing now, trying to get the crowd into it, thinking that they got it and then they let it slip away. And last night was disappointing because they had so much jam, so much fight in the second period. And then the third, it just fizzled out. So it's really hard to understand. So I agree with you. Get on the road and go figure it out, boys.
Some of the guys talked last night and they're using the word frustration, that has set in and that they're all trying to figure it out. When you were playing and something like that would happen, how did you deal with the frustration? Is it constant discussion or what was the process there?
Yeah, I was fortunate, to be honest with you, because I was always, I could just work hard, right? My game was not a skill game where I was relying on, that confidence to make plays. I was more work my butt off. And if I'm slumping, I can work myself out of it, but it's tough when guys aren't scoring, they aren't getting anything going. They second guess the plays that you're making, and it gets to be tricky. And frustration, it kind of kills you because if you get frustrated, then you're not playing your game. When you're playing at your best, and it's really when you think you're, the kid on the playing street hockey or in your driveway, and you're playing Game 7 and you're having fun and you always win and you get that confidence and that excitement that comes with it. There's no frustration in that. And so I think you got to find a way to park the frustration and go out and do your job.
We're talking to the most handsome Hal Gill on the People's Show, the Chasing Big Joe Show. Hal, Robbie Stanley brought up a good point this morning that I didn't think about, but I don't get your thoughts about it. He felt that some of the players are giving up good shots to kind of pass it over to Stamkos and maybe one of the other two top free agents. Are you seeing that as well?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's been an issue this season is, if you're a guy like Tommy Novak, you want to get the puck to your goal scorers, and that's Stamkos, right? That's what you want to do, but you can't force it. You got to make the play that's given to you, and that's, it's a balance. I think you're silly if you're not looking for goal scorers to go score goals, but at the same time, you got to play your game. Now, I think that you can let that float for 5 games. But then you recognize it and you go and play your game and you get past it. And that's the problem. I don't think that's a problem anymore. I think that was the initial problem, but I think they've learned to get through that. Now it's just a matter of developing that chemistry 5-on-5 where they can go out and make plays and make the right plays. And, I think that goes back to the road is, when you're on the road, you don't look for that extra pass. You simplify a little bit and then you kind of find your game. And plays will open up. They're there, and they're good players. Will find them, and they don't need to force anything. And I think that's something that might come with a road trip and going out and simplifying the game.
All right, you've seen all 12 games. In your esteemed opinion, what is the one biggest problem with this hockey team right now?
What I see is they can't find a consistent 5-man unit. It's like when they're good, you see 5 guys working together and moving up the ice, defending well, and then transitioning through the neutral zone. And right now, I see the play happening and it looks good. And then there's one guy that's not quite in position and doesn't quite make the play. And it's just one guy all the time. And it's not one player I'm talking about. It's one guy on the ice at any given moment that doesn't go with the rest of the four players. And then it turns around and then it's helter-skelter after that. And so I think, it's hard to get that. And Brunette has been he shuffled the lines last night, trying to find that chemistry where you get five guys working together. It hasn't come. And I think that's what they need to be successful. It's, I think the old days when you just fall into a 1-2-2, you have layers and you can defend that way. And, that was the trap is, you could get away with having one guy that wasn't on the same page. This system and the way that they play in the new NHL with the speed, if you're a couple feet off, then you're way off. And I think that they just haven't found that mix with five guys on the ice at the same time.
Obviously, you work on it in practice and in a game, but how this team plays so many games back to back to back almost, it seems like, and you got to give the guys a day off. I mean, you got a game Wednesday, a game Thursday, a game Saturday. I mean, it's the lack of practice time. Can that hold back a team a little bit?
Yeah. Well, I actually asked Brunette about this the other day. Is it hard to practice your system because the system has to be full go, and going back to the old days of the trap, I remember practices, we just stand in a spot and the coach would be like, no, I want you to stand over that way. We're going to shut off the red line here. This is where our squeeze is going to come in. And this is where our trap gets set up. And we'd just be standing there while the coach is going through everything. Well, this NHL, if you're going to practice something, you have to practice it full speed. Otherwise the timing is off. And so that limits how much you can practice because you can't go full speed all the time because you're going to kill your players. And the last thing you want when you're talking about needing to get energy and needing to get that jam is you don't want guys standing around and you don't want to wear them out. And so it's a delicate balance. And I think they rely on a lot of video and showing, hey, this is what happened in the game. This is how we can change it. And so I think a lot of the coaching comes from the video room. And I know they work their butt off to try to get everything right, but it's hard. Like you said, back to back, you're playing 3 and 4 and, 5 and 7, and, it gets crazy. And it's going to get even worse. So they got to find a way to do it while they're not on the ice because, like you said, they can't burn everyone out.
Hal Gill is with us. So let me ask you like this then. Does Bruno maybe look at his system and just say, hey, we got to get some things going and maybe try and dumb it down a little bit, make it as simple as possible just to get these guys on the same page?
Yeah, that's the tough one because I think a system has to be, it has to be, you have to be true to your identity, right? I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it work. And so you have to trust that once everyone gets it, you're going to have success with it. And I think that's what you have to work through these hard times. There's so many teams in the NHL that I remember my old coaches, it doesn't matter what system we do, as long as we do it together and as long as we do it well. But I think the new NHL, you need to have something special where you're pushing teams back on their heels and playing fast. And the ultimate goal is to play fast. Yeah, you can go out there and muck it up and grind it out like the old Preds you guys remember those years, just like grind out wins and block shots and battle and get it out of your zone and defend again. But that doesn't get you to the ultimate goal. I think if you want to win a cup, you got to play a fast game and you got to play it as a 5-man unit. And so what's the point in trying to eke out wins and changing your system if it's not going to win you a cup? And so I think that's why I see that is, yeah, if we can grind out wins and play slower, but why are we doing that when we could, hey, go work through some hard times and we'll be better for it in the end.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hal, appreciate it. As always, enjoy the trip, and let's see if you can come back with 4 points. That would be nice.
Yeah, go check your bags and on the road, and I think these guys will work through it. I'm hoping that we laugh at this at the end of the season and say, hey, this is this is the muck you have to get through to get to the wins.
And Hal, also, what a better place to be in America tonight than in Washington, D.C. So good luck.
Yeah, I just voted. I'm going to go out and celebrate in D.C. I'm sure it's going to be tame. I don't know. This is like the political Super Bowl, right? Like, is it going to be a gong show out there? Like, are there going to be like political parties everywhere? Like, I don't know.
Well, you'll have
watch on TV.
You'll have a nice quiet night. Yeah, it'll be nice and quiet for you.
Well, we'll see. I'll give you a full report tomorrow.
Awesome. Thanks, Hal.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See ya. Hal Gill joining us here on the program. And again, he will be on the call with Max Hers here on radio for the next 2 games, and also does a lot for the FanDuel Sports Network as well. But yeah, the Preds, I mean, it's just, I hope they can get it turned around. I think they can. I still am at that point where I think, let them go on a long trip. A lot of their games have been here, kind of get together, do some bonding stuff. They'll be good.
Well, here's the problem I've got. When I start looking at this team, I start looking at the standings. I'm like, God, Winnipeg's got 22, and look how well the Blues are playing. I'm like,
but it's the ebbs and flows, man.
Just play your game. Go out and beat Washington. You got Florida. You got Utah. I mean, you can't worry. And that's the thing. Like, oh my God, look how great they're playing. You just can't worry about that. And just go out and one game at a time, baby. One game at a time. Let's get back to our question of the day.
Yep, that's what we're going to do.
What trade in sports devastated you, just gutted you when you found out your favorite player was leaving your favorite team to go someplace else? We got a lot of responses, boy. We want to hear from you. 615-737-1025.
Also, Brutus the Barber Beefcake coming up at 10 o'clock today. Looking forward to talking to him. The Hall of Fame wrestler will join us at 10 o'clock. We're broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service.
Scheduled for next Tuesday, can Ralph go from Sesame Street to Pennsylvania Avenue? Adriatica Bell Johnson.
Well, Nash, Ralph Wiggum is a breath of fresh air for a country hungry for a change of air. And he's already a master of the soundbite, from his take on immigration reform, stranger danger, to his disciplined stance on government spending.
I only have this much monies.
I don't remember that one. I mean, I kind of do.
Was that the classroom? Were they running for president in the classroom?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, man.
There was one that I was watching the other night where this was perfect. Bart's running for 4th grade president against Martin, and like he just runs like just a smear campaign, and everybody's voting for Bart. And Mrs. Krabappel opens up the ballot like, you have until the end of lunch to vote.
Right.
And Bart goes, celebration outside, and everybody runs out and nobody votes.
That's right.
They all forgot to vote. And he's
yes.
And they all admit it, and Bart's like, oh no. And the bell ring, and it was Martin and Wendell that voted for Martin.
And he loses 2-1, right?
Yeah. 2-0.
2-0. Oh, man. It's a quick story. One time, this was 2008, I went to vote, and I was working at Channel 2 at the time. I had my Channel 2 jacket on. I had my son, and I went to vote, and I got up there, and a lady started arguing with me saying I shouldn't be able to vote because I work in media. I mean, she was adamant. And the working ladies there were like, hey, you need to calm down. She's like, he shouldn't be allowed to vote. So I go into the voting booth. And so I'm like, I'm tired. So I start yelling at her, and I got my son. Meanwhile, you have the buttons on the machine. So JJ starts pushing buttons. And I turn around. I'm like, well, what's going on here? And he's like, I'm pushing buttons. And and I'm like, holy cow. I think I voted for you and for Dr. Crane's Nani. I voted for everyone. But this lady was just giving it to me because I worked in media and I was voting, and she was adamant to toss me out. So it's crazy, man. 16 years ago. Wow. So get out and vote today. I don't care who you vote for, just get out and vote.
Oh, man.
Back to our question of the day.
Yes.
Today's NFL trade deadline at 3, I think. What is a trade that devastated you growing up or recently, of your favorite players saying goodbye? I thought we would get more A.J. Brown responses.
By the way, I did just find this because people were arguing about McNair. June 7th, 2006, the two teams worked out a deal to send McNair to the Ravens for a 4th-round pick in the 2007 NFL Draft. And McNair flew to Baltimore, passed the physical, and was announced as the newest member of the Ravens.
Wow.
So it was a trade.
But now I'm curious to see who the Titans got for the 4th-round pick in 2000.
I know. I was just thinking that too. That'd be an interesting one.
I'm so nervous. I can't even.
Let's see. Computer. I'm trying to get there.
They had Leroy Harris or Chris Davis. They had Michael Griffin, Chris Henry, Paul. Listen how bad this draft was. Michael Griffin, who not bad. Chris Henry, terrible. Paul Williams, terrible. Leroy Harris, pretty good. Chris Davis, terrible. Antonio Johnson, terrible. Joel Falani, terrible. Jacob Ford, terrible. Ryan Smith, terrible.
It was Chris Davis.
Chris Davis.
That's who they got.
And remember, he was trying to get the punt returner, and he got busted for a DUI. And then Fisher's like, well, you can do drinking in Florida. And kicked him out, sent him back down to Tallahassee. Paul Williams, God bless. Paul Koharski loved Paul Williams because that guy hung around for like 3 or 4 years. And I remember Paul one time saying, why is he still here? I mean, he hung around forever and did nothing. God, that's a bad draft. Joel Falani one time came in and he had dyed his hair orange. And Vince Young says to him in the locker room, I ain't throwing no damn ball to a strawberry. Guy walked in proud of his hair, feeling good, and Vince Young says that to
him. Real quick, Jason wants to weigh in on our question of the day on a trade. Jason, what's up?
What's up, guys? So my trade is, all right, I know he was older, but Dale Murphy was my favorite player growing up as a kid, and when the Braves decided to trade him at the end of his career to the Phillies, no.
Look, that's my number one trade of all time that devastated me.
Thanks,
Jason, because I grew up watching those West Coast Braves games where they'd play San Diego and San Francisco and Dodgers, And the only constant, the only guy who always gave everything and played his tail off was Dale Murphy. Every single time you could count on Murphy to hit a game-winning homer versus the Padres or something out there. So you grew up with him, and you love him, and next thing you know, he's with the Phillies, and he just looks weird in a Phillies jersey, and I never, ever got over that. So thank you, Jason.
Yep. Very good one for sure. All right, who's coming up next?
Well, there's a big kind of a Comic-Con event happening with a lot of celebrities coming to town this weekend in Lebanon. And one of the celebrities is Brutus the Barber Beefcake. So the legend's going to join us next year on the People Show, and I cannot wait.
Oh, this is going to be fun. We'll do that coming up next. We're going to have a few different wrestlers on this week. Do that coming up here on Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hour number 2, Chase and Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game here on this Tuesday. He's Big Joe. I'm Chase McCabe. That is Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier. It is election day. Get out there and vote. Use your right as an American to go and do that. Having some fun today. Going to be joined in just a few minutes by Hall of Fame wrestler Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Isn't it great? I told people yesterday, like, who's on the show tomorrow? I'm like, oh, man, we got Brutus. It's trade deadline. Now, all this, man. And then we got Brutus the Barber Beefcake. And they're like, what?
Oh, yeah.
It's like sometimes you get lucky. As I tell people, you'd rather be lucky than good. And this show, we're really lucky. Really.
All right,
lucky.
Dr. Crane, hit it.
Federation, for over 50 years, the revolutionary force in sports entertainment.
I love this. It's one of my favorite themes of all time. Let's bring in the Hall of Famer, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, who joins us now. Brutus, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great.
Thanks so much.
The day we got going here.
I know. Thanks so much for doing this. I know you have to be excited to come to Nashville. After all these years in the wrestling business in your career, how special is it to be able to interact with fans of all generations like you're going to see this weekend?
Oh, I love it. That's why I still go out and do this stuff as much as I can.
Does it kind of like hit you at certain points when, you know, so many people walk up to you and they want to talk to you. They want to hear stories, whether it's about, guys you fought back in the day or Hogan or what have you. I mean, does it still just kind of floor you that there's so many people that want to hear your stories?
It does. I mean, it seems like there's more than ever. I mean, the most asked question is, what was your great match? I go, well, I don't know. I think I have 10,000 matches. So that's a harder question than you're asking there. It's like I wrestled for over 42 years, and so that's a lot of wrestling.
Yeah, no doubt. How much do you keep up with the business nowadays?
Brother, after 42 years, I'm kind of just glad to be away from it and not worry about it, not have to go that direction. I just chill, and when I can at home, and TV's on movie channel.
Feel that.
Good for you. We're joined by Brutus the Barber Beefcake on the Chase and Big Joe show. Let's go back to the start when you got into this. I got a question. It says, please ask him how he got his nickname. How did you get the name Brutus the Barber Beefcake?
Well, it actually was Brutus Beefcake, and 3 years after that, after WrestleMania 3, then Pat Patterson, I don't know, who's not with us anymore, came up with this idea to call me the Barber because I helped Piper shave Adrian's head. They gave me the warning. They told me nothing. And I was really pissed. I said, this is not right. I've worked so hard to get Brutus Beefcake at the top of the list of competitors for WWF, and now you're going to change my name and lay this Barber gimmick on me that has nowhere to go. So it didn't look good, man. Only just with Hogan's help, he came up with the idea to use the sleeper hold that Piper used and really had been over real strong. So use the sleeper hold, put people to sleep, and then pull scissors out and cut their hair. And I mean, everybody gets a sleeper hold, especially on the TV matches, and then everybody gets a haircut. And I mean, everybody. And when that happened, and that kept happening and happening and happening, the people not only accepted it, but it was so different. It was so outside the box. I thought really, actually, Pat Patterson was setting me up to fail. He wanted me to be a flaming gay guy from San Francisco. I decided I was going to be more like a Chippendale dancer from California, from, wherever. And that's what I went with. And I don't think they were happy. He was setting me up to fail, give me this Barber thing. And lo and behold, it turned out to be better than anybody remotely had any imagination could happen, because it's just plug in that crazy Brutus knack for getting crazy and doing innovative stuff. I think, my outfits changed the whole wrestling business. Some of the guys are still wearing their ugly old blue jeans with holes in them, but a lot of guys aren't, and so, it was just up to me to then some, and then the Barber became a legend.
Oh, absolutely it is. We're talking the Brutus the Barber Beefcake. He'll be in town at the Music City Multicon happening this weekend in Lebanon. MusicCityMulticon.com for more information. Brutus, my son never saw you wrestle. He's 18 years old. Huge fan because he saw you on YouTube and everything. What's it like when you go to these events, when you meet these kids who never saw you wrestle live, yet absolutely adore you because of what you did in the 80s and 90s and know you that way? It's got to be a wonderful feeling.
It's a great feeling. There's a whole generation, from the 80s and 90s. I mean, that was a long time ago, man. That was 20, 30 years ago. And so, there's a lot of people, real youngsters now, they're being brought up on the reruns from our old school 80s and 90s stuff. And I got to be honest with you, I've watched the new stuff too, but it doesn't compare with the talent, that the superstars that Vince created in the 80s and 90s that were competing, the level of professionalism, the amount of talent, the toughness and the precision that the guys, had great pride in their work, and that all these first 6, 7, 9, 10 WrestleManias, a lot of the same guys, were instrumental in making all those happen. And I don't know, how do you argue with that kind of success?
We're talking to Brutus Beefcake here on the Chasing Big Joe show. So 2019, you go in the WWE Hall of Fame. The Hulkster inducted you. Who called you? Who called you to let you know that was going to happen? And what did that moment mean to you?
I can't remember if it was Hulk or the office that called me. I think the office actually called me. And then he called me right afterwards. Well, it was, I've been waiting a long time. Greg and I were partners. We were the World Tag Team Champions. He got inducted in 2005. And so I would have to wait 14 more years for it to happen. And I actually had somebody pranked me from the WWF main office in 2009, called my home where I was living at the time in Massachusetts, told everybody I was going to the Hall of Fame, and it was a joke. Let me tell you, it wasn't very funny.
Yeah, no, that's not cool.
That was horrible. And so I had already made up my mind. You know what? It doesn't really make that big a difference, although I think it does make a big difference. I had made up my resorted to that it wasn't going to happen. So what? I'm not going to hold my head down, look down. I'm going to hold my head up high and realize, that I did my best and gave it everything I had. And there's nothing to be ashamed of for that. And if I can't make the Hall of Fame, and I can't make it.
So
but I did.
You did, and that was a really cool class too. It was not just you, but Honky Tonk Man goes in, the Hart Foundation goes in, obviously D-Generation X as well. But looking at some of the other members of that class, what I thought about that one and watching that ceremony was how cool it was to kind of see that generation of the 80s and the 90s with you guys, and then the late 90s and the 2000s, and just, how all of you impacted this business in such a positive way. How cool was it to go in with that group in particular?
Those are my friends that I worked alongside of many, many, many years, and the Hart family, all of them were friends. I ate dinner at Stu Hart's table at, you could seat 14 at, where the family ate at for all those years and sat in his house and went down in the dungeon, the whole thing, and Honky has been my friend. I met him in 77 in Memphis. And so, all those guys have long memories for me and everything. And so it was a real honor and a pleasure to be, brought in with those guys.
We're talking to Brutus the Barber Beefcake, who'll be in town this weekend at the Music City Multicon. Let me ask you this. Why do you think it still resonates? I talked about, my son loving you, but I mean, you guys, you bring up your name and Hulk Hogan and Dino Bravo and the $1 Million Man and on and on and on. Why are you guys still iconic? Can you answer that for us? Because I don't know. And you guys are still as popular now as you were back then.
Well, I have to answer that this way. The business changes throughout the years. Sometimes it changes for the good. Sometimes it doesn't. There's nothing you can do about it. The change is inevitable. But the period of time from the late 70s and the early 80s, and our business was changing and cable television took over, and now it was possible to run the whole United States as one territory, and that's what Vince did. He had great vision, and he recruited the best talent that was available in basically in the world. Guys came from all around, from all over, and it became just so much talent. It was just the ball was in Vince's court to be able to be creative enough to utilize all the talent that he had in the right way, and he did. He managed to pull it off, and he had, every match was like a main event. It wasn't anymore like you had one match or two matches at the end of the night that was good. Every match from the start to end was a great match. Had great talent, good people, personalities that people loved to connect with. The wrestlers knew how to connect with the crowd. They knew how to get in the ring and tell a story. It's called working the people, man. Connecting with the people out there. Ring psychology. Telling a story in the ring. We all told a story in the ring. The good guys trying to beat the bad guys. It was just simple as that. It didn't have to be real complicated. It was just the good guys against the bad guys. And it wasn't a constant gray area where one day somebody's this and one day somebody's that. People knew who the good guys were. People knew who the bad guys were. And they loved, watching them compete. And that's what we did. And we did well.
Well, Brutus, it's going to be awesome to have you in Nashville at the Music City Multicon this weekend. Thanks so much for doing this. Great to hear the stories and catch up with you.
All right, brother. Just answer me one question. I know I'm seeing 8, 9, 10. Is it because I'm flying in Friday? Or we actually is the con on Friday afternoon to early Friday evening? Because that's away from them to run. But
yeah,
I didn't see it.
No, you got a set time. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's how the event runs. It's 3 days. So you're all good, brother. Right. We'll see you this weekend.
I can't wait, man. I'm looking forward to a big time. Nashville, the Music City is number one.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. There you go. Brutus the Barber Beefcake, the Hall of Famer on the line with us. So cool.
That is really cool, man.
To hear the stories, and a tag team champion in the WWF, and just those stories back in the day. Had the big clippers.
It was great.
Come out with. It was awesome.
Can we tease who we got tomorrow?
Sure.
Just tell the folks. Jake the Snake Roberts.
And maybe Damien. I don't know. Damien might be in the bag with him. You never know.
Right. So tomorrow at 10:30.
Jake the Snake's actually been in the studio before.
Yes.
Yes.
I wasn't here. Did he bring the snake?
No, he did not bring the snake. I don't even know if he has it anymore. But that was one of the most what's interesting about Jake the Snake is he's an iconic wrestler, Hall of Fame wrestler in his own right. But he was a part of launching who could possibly be the biggest, greatest wrestler of all time in Stone Cold Steve Austin, because they wrestled in the King of the Ring final. Steve Austin wins the match, and Jake is walking to the locker room, and Steve cuts the promo. You talk your Psalms, you talk your John, you thump your Bible, you talk your John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, "I just whipped your ass." Yeah. I mean, it was.
I didn't know that,
and it launched Steve Austin into just a total different stratosphere. But it'll be good to have him on tomorrow and to talk to Jake the Snake, and then Billy Gunn on Friday.
Yeah, this is all cool. The Music City Multicon, and it's coming to town in Lebanon this weekend. So if you're looking for something to do, there you go.
Yep. Even better. Coming up next, we'll get back into our question. Also, some Titan stuff. Trade deadline. I'm going to throw out some players to Joe to see if he would trade them if he were the Titans, and also Matt Grieche from the Nashville Super Speedway at the bottom of the hour. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Dad, can't you have some other kind of party, one where you don't serve meat?
But all normal people love meat. If I went to a barbecue and there was no meat, I would say, "Yo, Goober, where's the meat?" I'm trying to impress people here, Lisa. You don't win friends with salad.
You don't win friends with salad. You don't win friends with salad.
You don't win friends with salad. You don't win friends with salad. You don't win friends with salad. You don't win friends with salad.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, he's so mean to her sometimes.
That episode where he steals cable and he jumps off the couch and she falls to the floor. I'm like, what in the world are we doing? Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Appreciate Brutus the Barber Beefcake for joining us on the program. Trade deadline day. Maction begins. There's something else going on today, too.
Yeah, people are angry at the Titans.
Yeah, that too.
There's a 2-for-1 deal going on somewhere, like for
nice.
food. So yeah, there's that too.
Oh, okay. Where is that? Over at Nani's?
Well, maybe, but no. I think it's a wing place. I don't know, some wing place in town. I don't remember the name.
Well, they can email together at cromwellmedia.com and we'll say the name.
We will definitely say the name.
That's how that works. All right, I'm going to throw out. Let me tell you this. I went through the Titans roster. It was hard for me to find 5 names that anybody would probably want to trade for, but this is kind of where we're at. And I want you to just kind of give me your general thoughts if you would do it if you're the Titans or if you would try if you're another team.
Okay.
Okay. Arden Key.
No, I think he sucks. I think he runs his mouth way too much. I don't think he's any good at all.
Okay. I will say this. He's had a good couple weeks, so his stock is as high as it's going to be.
Every squirrel finds a nut.
Okay. All right. Very good. Harold Landry.
The contract is stupid. Nobody's going to assume that for an average player.
All right. Amani Hooker.
I think he's a good player. I think he's a really good player, and I think you could get some value for him. I would.
If you could get like a 4th round pick for him, I'd probably do it.
Yeah, because he came in the 19 draft, so this is 6th year on the team. Yes, I would.
Tyler Boyd on a 1-year deal.
$9 million is what he's making, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he's really shown nothing, so I don't know. I don't think anybody wants him.
I mean, Mingo just went for a 4th.
To Jerry Jones, who just rolled over.
I know.
Probably hit send on his phone.
Right.
Didn't mean to. So,
dang damn it. Steven, come get this. How do I unsend this?
Oh, yeah. So I don't, maybe.
Oh, man. Kenneth Murray.
I think Kenneth Murray's played well.
I think he has too. Like I don't necessarily want to lose him. Again, it was a struggle to find guys that have any value whatsoever.
But it's tough now that you're 9 games in to plug in a line. It's easier plugging a receiver. Just go run a hook or curl or give me a go route. With a linebacker, you got to teach that defense. So it's difficult plugging a guy halfway through the season.
Yeah.
I think he's doing well.
Yeah, he is. Wes in Clarksville says, wouldn't it be something if the Titans went out and get 11 wins?
Could you imagine? There's no way. There's no way that happens.
So if that happens on as soon as that final game is over, I would reach down and I would touch the ground, to make sure it wasn't cold, because that's what I would immediately think.
Right. What was the night when they flipped Mariota to Tannehill 19? Were they 1-4?
Into that Denver game?
Yeah. Were they? I don't
remember.
I think they were 1-4.
Let me look. All right, so that was 2019, right?
By the way, I can still tell you, Mariota in that game was the worst first half performance of any pro quarterback ever. He was.
They lost the game, but
awful.
they almost. All right, so they would have at the end of that game they were 2-4.
2-4. Okay.
They had won the opener at Cleveland, 43-13.
Looking good.
Everybody was saying, here we go. And then they lost to Indy 19-17, lost at Jacksonville 20-7. They beat Atlanta here 24-10. And then they they beat Atlanta in Atlanta. They lost to Buffalo 14-7, and then they go out to Denver and lose 16-0, can't get anything going. That's when they made the change. And then they beat the Chargers the next week 23-20, beat Tampa, lost to at Carolina, beat Kansas City, went to the off. They went to the off week 5-5.
Okay.
and then beat Jacksonville, Indy, Oakland, lost to Houston and New Orleans, beat Houston, and then made the playoffs, and we know the rest.
So it happens. I mean, the 93 Oiler team was 1-4. That was the baby gate year, and they rolled and ended up going to the playoffs and got beat by Joe Montana in the first round. So there are examples where a team can rally when they're playing terrible, but very, very, very rarely does that happen.
Yeah.
You guys is that all you got on the list there?
Yeah, that's it. I struggled to find 5. I mean, we could trade the kicker.
Nah, would you trade Skoronski?
Probably not.
Okay, he's not good.
I'm not. I know, but I'm not.
He's not good.
I'm not ready to give up yet.
If he had been drafted in the 5th round, we'd be like, okay,
yeah,
but he's really not good.
What is it? Is he out of position?
I don't think he's tough enough.
Like, should they try him at right tackle?
No. Yeah. Why not? Yeah,
because I heard Trevor say that the thing he's seeing is, you have to be a little quicker at guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they put him at right tackle, that he's a little more used to that. Would that, and it slows down for him, could that be a better?
It could be. But I know there's guys that they've, like, the Raiders drafted a guy from Iowa one time named Robert Gallery, who was massive at right tackle, was terrible. And they moved him to guard and had a nice little career.
Yeah.
So going from guard to tackle, I mean, why? Yeah, you got him. Try him out there.
Try something.
Yeah, nothing else can hurt. But I just don't think he has that fire. Somebody tweeted out the other day, and it was great. It says, a good offensive line has 2 psychopaths on it, an overthinker, a gentleman, and somebody you don't want to go to an alley with. And I'm thinking that is the perfect analogy for an offensive line.
So you, me, Dr. Crane, Ricky. It sounds like our group.
Woody from Woody and Jim.
Yeah, there you go. Coming up next, we're doing a lot today. The NASCAR season ending this weekend in Phoenix. Our buddy Matt Grieche from the Nashville Super Speedway going to join us to talk a little bit more about that. Do that on the other side. Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game on this Tuesday. The NASCAR season wrapping up this weekend. The championship race at Phoenix. You can hear it Sunday on 102.5, 106.3, The Game after the conclusion of Vandy basketball coverage. We say hello to our buddy Matt Grieche, the GM of the Nashville Super Speedway. Matt, how the heck are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
It's hard to believe it's already here, the end of another season, going to crown a champion. One of the championship four that we'll see at Phoenix. But how are things out at the Nashville Super Speedway?
We've had a really good year, and looking to wrap up a successful NASCAR season across the board. But we've had some great events come visit us at Nashville Super Speedway, including our triple header NASCAR weekend back in June and the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix in September, and we crowned some champions and race winners, and we're looking forward to 2025, but not before some champions are crowned in Phoenix Raceway this weekend.
Yeah, how cool was it? Obviously you all have done a great job since the track reopened in establishing a go-to NASCAR weekend, but having IndyCar out there, I remember, back in the day when they ran there before, having them out there in their championship weekend. How fun was that?
It was really good. It's those machines are really impressive. If nobody's ever seen an IndyCar race and not seen one on a 1.3 mile concrete surface, seeing cars go side by side at 220 miles an hour, there's not a lot of things more exhilarating than that. So we were happy to host that race, and looking forward to another successful one next year.
Ryan Blaney, the defending Cup Series champion. Joey Logano won it a couple of years ago, also the defending winner of the Ally 400. Tyler Reddick and William Byron. That's your championship four. And it wasn't without some controversy, but that's what it's going to be at Phoenix. Do you have a feeling either way, or do you just think this is how the format works, and whoever has the best day is going to hoist the trophy?
Yeah, I think the format is created to create, drama and make it rewarding for race winners, and that's what it was. I mean, 3 of the 4 that are in the Final Four here were race winners in the last round. That's what has been established, that winning matters, and all 4 of those drivers have won 3 times on the NASCAR circuit this year. And as you mentioned, Joey Logano is our defending race winner from this past June for the Ally 400, where he overcame 4 overtime restarts to come victorious here. And that team really seems to step up when it matters. Joey and his crew chief Paul Wolf seem to figure it out when it really matters, and they stepped up to win in Vegas to advance to the championship 4. And these 4 drivers have really accomplished a lot this year. I think Phoenix should be a really good race come Sunday.
I'm still exhausted from all those restarts, by the way, but that's okay.
Matt, when we look back at the 2024 season, how much fun was it? Of course, you had the big weekend in June. You had the Indy race there, and a lot of other things that happened. How much fun was 2024 for the racetrack?
We've had the most event use days that we've had since being open. So we've entertained a lot of folks. We've created value for the community here. So it's been a really successful 2024 season, and we're into our planning phase of how we can make 2025 even better.
It's funny. We look at that race back in June. That was almost, over 4 months ago. The Indy race was 2 months ago. And now, I mean, time just flies. And that's why, you're already preparing for 2025. And the last, 21, 22, 23, 24, the NASCAR race there has been fantastic. It gets better each and every year. So I guess this is a great time for the Speedway to just keep growing and growing, right?
It really is. We're well established in the calendar for next year. We're May 30th through June 1st on the front end of summer. So if you don't have your tickets yet, come find them, and you can come celebrate the beginning of summer here with us at Nashville Super Speedway. But yeah, the team here has rallied, and we continue to try to advance and improve each year, and welcome folks from all over the country here to our triple header NASCAR weekend.
Matt Grieche is on the line with us. What's interesting, if you look at all of the championships that'll be crowned this weekend, we mentioned Logano, who won earlier this year at the Nashville Super Speedway. In the Xfinity Series, you got AJ Allmendinger and Justin Allgaier, some former winners, and then Christian Eckes, who won the truck race earlier this year. I mean, I'm sure there are some guys you're cheering for. We would love to see some Nashville Super Speedway winners be champions.
Absolutely. So if you want to be in the running for the championship race, I think you need to win here at Nashville Super Speedway. So important for you to come see the race here and look forward to a champion. Yeah, I think it's rewarding for us to see the top tier drivers win here and then be in the chase for the championship 4 and see who's going to be crowned on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Cup Series.
Obviously, they've made a pretty good home the last few years in Phoenix to crown the champion. But I've always been of the belief that I would love to see the championship race move around. And clearly, I'm very biased. So if it was ever at the Nashville Super Speedway, that would be awesome. But how much of that discussion have you heard? With obviously your role of would NASCAR ever consider moving it around year to year, or does everybody like that it kind of finds a spot for a few years and like it was at Homestead for a long time, Atlanta before that, and then it might rotate after a few years? Has that discussion happened a lot?
Not a lot. I think it's well established in Phoenix, and they've done a really good job rewarding the champions that come there. I think NASCAR is always evolving and always open to new opportunities. But at this point, I think it's established for Phoenix Raceway in 2025, and we're definitely excited about our date for next year as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. If people want to go ahead and start getting on tickets, how can they do that?
1-866-RACE-TICKS, or visit us at NashvilleSuperspeedway.com. Lock in your tickets, your camping, premium experiences. We're open for business and looking forward to a great 2025, but not before champions are crowned this weekend at Phoenix Raceway.
Well, I'm looking forward to this weekend, and I'm looking forward to next year being back out there at the Nashville Super Speedway. I'll get my voice warmed up, but always a pleasure to talk to you, and thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Maybe next year will be 6 overtime chances to get to that checkered flag.
I'm going to have some tea in the booth just to make sure that we're good to go on that. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Chase. Thanks, Big Joe. Appreciate it.
Matt Gricci joining us here on the program, the GM of the Nashville Super Speedway.
What happened to your voice?
Well, because I kept getting excited on all the restarts, and then they kept having to do it, and I was like, "Uh-oh, this may not end well for me."
You started to sound like Jerry Jones at the end of the race.
I did. I woke up the next morning, and I was like, "Oh, I got to do a show today."
Oh, Jim.
I don't know, Jim. Coming up next, we'll tell you what day it is. Oh, it's a day. All right. And also celebrity birthdays here on the Chasing Big Joe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase and Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game, here on this Tuesday. A reminder, we have some fun and everything, but do go out and vote. Let your voice be heard. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care what you vote for. That's your business, not mine. But you have the right, so go out there and do it. So I'll be doing that after the show because I'm a procrastinator and don't do the early voting stuff, but that's okay.
Early voting's boring to me.
There's something about on actual election day,
right?
To go and do that. So this week's Nashville's Best Deal is from Black Rabbit. Black Rabbit is a great spot to enjoy some Nashville vibes with craft cocktails, delicious food, and live music. Just steps from iconic venues. It's perfect for a night out. Snagging a $50 gift card for only $25 is a fantastic way to experience it. Get yours now at thegamenashville.com/deals while supplies last. With that, you got a final thought? Or
have you been to Black Rabbit?
Yeah.
It is amazing.
It's awesome.
And there's a history behind it, which when you go there, find out about the history involving mobsters. It's really, really cool.
I love places like that.
It's a fantastic place. There's that word again, but it really is downtown. Black Rabbit.
Indeed. With that, let's get to what day is it and celebrity birthdays.
All right, gentlemen. First on the docket, we have American Football Day. So that's every day in the U.S.
Heck yeah, it is, buddy.
We also have Bank Transfer Day. So, transfer your money or go to a different bank, one of the two. Commercial TV Broadcast Day. So, love me a good commercial, especially the one with McConaughey and McCaffrey. Let's see. Election Day is next. Obviously, that's today. National Chinese Takeout Day. I don't know. You guys have fried rice? You guys like fried rice?
I like fried rice. I like the
shrimp
lo mein.
fried rice. Yeah.
You ever put pineapple inside the fried rice?
What? Now are you a snob? You don't like Chinese food?
I do.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I'm giving recommendations.
Okay.
Just putting that out there. Let's see. National Donut Appreciation Day. Big donut guy. Let's see. Let's down here. National Gunpowder Day. National Love Your Red Hair Day. Don't have red hair. And then this one was said earlier this week, but Skeptics Day, and they celebrate it internationally today. So
you ever dated a redhead there, Dr. Crane?
I can't say I have.
You should at one point in your life. Because it's a ride, buddy. It's a good ride. It's a fun time.
Okay.
All right. There's life lessons from an absolute loser. So
better than Opryland?
Much better than Opryland. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Much better. And you'll miss this 25 years later like you do Opryland. All right, Chase, what's up, man?
Thanks.
Is that all we got?
That's all we got.
All right. Time for
I'm just reading some text. So
celebrity birthdays. You got to get these within 2. We ready to go? Here we go. Our first birthday, we called him Officer Whip-Ass in Terminator 2. He was Robert Patrick. He was the other Terminator they couldn't kill.
Oh, yeah.
How old is Robert Patrick today?
68.
74.
66. By the way, Terminator 2 is such a good movie.
Oh, yeah. I love Terminator. I think it's one of the rare sequels that's better than the first one.
Oh,
the first
I
one's
agree.
great. But
I agree.
Yeah.
Bryan Adams. Rocker Bryan Adams.
74.
70.
65.
Oh, sorry, Brian.
That's all right. Who is here? My computer's slow. Actress Tilda Swinton. She was in some of those nerd movies. Tilda Swinton.
42.
Isn't it tilde what's above the N in like the Spanish
Just
alphabet?
answer.
Sorry. Goodness gracious. Aggressive.
Yeah, something like that.
60.
64. Chases up 1-0.
Shut up, Dr. Chris.
Let's get it going on. Actor Sam Rockwell.
What's he been in?
He was in the Gong Show movie about Chuck Barris was good, but he's in a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
3 Bill. I don't know. I'm not going to.
72.
67.
56. Rocker. Kevin Jonas of the Jonas Brothers.
Oh, there you go. 32.
40.
37. Art Garfunkel. How old is Art Garfunkel?
78.
73.
83. Singer Peter Noon of Herman's Hermits, who stiffed me on a tab at a bar 30 years ago.
79.
80.
77. Chase up 2-0. Kris Jenner, TV personality Kris Jenner.
44.
61.
69. That's Kim Kardashian's mom.
Oh, sorry.
64.
I was
44.
thinking somebody else.
Actress Tatum O'Neal.
38.
34.
61. Used to be married to John McEnroe. Boy, you guys are good today.
Yeah, we're off.
Good Lord. All right, let's go to singer guitar player Ryan Adams. Isn't that weird?
They have the same birthday? That's awesome, actually.
That's very cool. Ryan Adams. That's some weird, wild
I saw him at the Ryman not too long ago.
Was that the day he snapped? Remember they said play Bryan Adams songs? He got mad and walked off?
No.
All right, how old is Ryan Adams? Enough of your delay.
40.
50.
50 exactly. We're tied at 2. All right, here we go. Former NBA head coach, player Alvin Gentry.
Did he coach? No, I'm thinking something.
He did. He coached the Pelicans for 5 seasons.
Yeah. Alvin Gentry, 58.
54.
70. Javi Lopez.
Former Braves catcher. 55.
52.
54. Chases up 3-2. Johnny Damon.
50.
51.
51 exactly. Dr. Crane's up 4-3. Jerry Stackhouse.
Nashville legend. I liked him. He was fine. Jerry Stackhouse is 54.
48.
50. Dr. Crane's up 5-3. Bubba Watson, the golfer. How old is Bubba Watson?
48.
53.
46. It's 5-4, Dr. Crane. We have 2 left. Odell Beckham Jr.
31.
32.
32 exactly. With that, Dr. Crane's up 7-4. Our last birthday, Dr. Crane, you win this. Our last birthday, Titans kicker Nick Folk. How old is Nick Folk?
38.
40.
40 exactly. Dr. Crane wins 9-4. Good job, Dr. Crane.
Thank you very much. I think so.
Congrats.
I shaved today. That's what it was.
Nice. It's all because of Tilda Swinton.
That's what you see over that letter.
That is going to do it for us. Get out there and vote today.
Yeah, absolutely. To our guys out there, listen, you're doing fantastic on your cell phone. If you need to talk to anybody, dial 988 on your cell phone, or you can text or reach out to us. We're always here for you. We know that you might be going through a few things. We all do, but that's okay. It's okay not to feel okay. Know that we love you. We're here for you, and we tell you all the time, God has you on this earth for a specific purpose that only you can fulfill, and your journey is beautiful. And something happened to you, you'd be tremendously missed. Don't let that happen. Know that we love you.
Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll. DVD coming up next. 102.5, 106.3, The Game.